Well, Patrick Kiare, you have been named the influential person of the year as far as climate is concerned. How do you feel about it?
I'm feeling kind humble,
Okay.
but shocked.
Shocked. Why shocked?
I never thought I could be that influential person
Okay.
in the country.
This idea, we don't have time. I've heard that it came out because of a conversation between you, a friend, your niece, and yourself. How exactly did it come out?
Okay, I happen to know about We Don't Have Time back 2019,
Okay.
before we got the COVID early January in
Okay.
2020.
Okay.
And I was having conversation with my cousin, which is Robert Dongo, and her niece. Actually, the whole idea came up from the niece.
Oh, okay.
She asked us, do you think about our future? So the idea which I want us steer globally, it all came from our needs. Why borrowing from future?
Yeah, I'm glad that you are actually acknowledging their part in this project. Now, you've been involved in different environmental projects, like we can talk about the ESCONET, which facilitates the growth of the Great Rift Valley, right? You've also been with the Green Belt of Wangari Maathai. What really made you feel like you were passionate about environment?
Okay, since I was young, okay, I came from a very humble background,
Okay.
but in my background, I was much conscious
Okay.
regarding the climate.
Well, this idea, we don't have time. When you put it out there, when you started tweeting about it, when you started putting in the apps out there, what was the response of people? You know, there's definitely some responses that you expected. How did you carry it? Like, how did you take it as a person and from the experiences that you've had so far?
Okay, when I joined We Don't Have Time, I think nobody else knew about it in
Okay.
Kenya.
Okay.
That was back 2019. But early 2020, a Swedish friend of mine introduced me to We Don't Have Time. And from there,
That is
we
when.
have grown up. Now it's now history. Everybody has it.
How is the relationship between we don't have time and COP26?
Okay, the relationship with We Don't Have Time and COP26, we are just that voice.
Okay.
And we want to amplify that voice to everybody. What we are talking more, we are saying we don't have time
Okay.
regarding the climate issues. Too much. Actually, the Kenyan, not only Kenyan, everybody, the whole world knows about it. So it's our time to act. That's why we are not saying we don't have time. It's that time we should act right away.
When I talk about COP26, I'm talking about the way the world wants to tackle climate crisis and the way it wants to organize itself into making sure that it's handling crisis the right way. So what is the impact of we don't have time on COP26?
Okay, we as we don't have time, I think I have said that earlier, we are just amplifying that voice.
Okay.
And that's why all leaders from all over the world, like 196 leaders already there in Glasgow, Scotland, our President Uhuru Kenyatta is among the leaders who are partners of COP26. COP means Conference of Parties.
Okay.
So we need all these leaders to act. If a certain leader, maybe like Joe Biden from America, act, it means the whole America will act. What if about Kenya? If Uhuru act and maybe signs that treaty we need, the whole Kenya will act. We as we don't have time, that's why we are amplifying that voice for everybody to know, and everybody, we individually, we take that action, and collectively, I think it will mean a lot.
I have seen your slogan is we cannot have change unless we become the change, and someone else is mentioning it as we as Africa, we don't have to really have the burden to to support climate change because our emissions are less statistically, unlike the developed countries. What do you have to say
Yeah,
about
Africa is the one which is more affected,
that? Okay.
but now we are not talking about Africa alone.
Alone.
Okay, in our Kenyan slogan, we have a Swahili slogan says, kidole kimoja hakiwi chawa.
Okay.
That's why we as we don't have time, we say together we are that solution. and me and anybody in this hall or anybody in the country or anybody listening this voice, if we can act together, I think that's the voice we need, and we hope it can bring change.
Now, we as Africa, and we don't have to, work as one person, but we have to work as a team, right?
Collectively,
Environmentalist, or rather climate change analyst, Daniel Nyamea, talks about we don't have to use specific way to approach the climate change issue, but we have to use an African way that will impact on African as a person and Africa as a culture. Do you have a way that you think about it that will relate to African culture?
Yeah, globally, we as African already are affected.
Okay.
Like in Kenya particularly, we as Kenyans, we know particular time, particular season. People, they have to act, they have to plant at that particular time. But the effects already we are getting, it's already changing the patterns already we are having.
Now, the COP26 summit that is going on in the country, in the world today in Glasgow, if I'm not wrong, the president mentioned about progress that is made as far as the funds that we need for the renewable energy gases and the energy sources is being funded by those people that are supposed to fund the project. I've seen about 100 billion being allocated to African countries. Do you think that is enough amount of money?
If you are watching our program in COP26, or the watch party we are holding since 1st to 12th,
Okay.
which is ending today, it means like the fossil fuels, they have used, that's 1 week or maybe 11 days. They have used a lot of money than what we need to be allocated for Africa for 1 year. Wow. So within 11 days, fossil fuels, or the companies that do that, already they have surpassed within 11 days what we should do for 1 year.
So you mean that 100 billion might not be enough?
Okay, it's enough, or maybe it can do a lot, but it means the companies which are fighting climate crisis in one way or another, they are using more money than even what we expect.
Now, when it comes to your influential award that you just earned it a few days ago, what are you really working towards after this influential award? You know, as one of the persons that with the best climate idea, what are you working towards?
I think I'm that voice.
Okay.
And I think if you can join me to be that voice, it can mean a lot. I never thought, or I never knew that I'm in fashion.
Okay.
Actually, it came like today, 3 p.m. when they made press release that I have won that award. Okay, for me, it's not my award. I feel it belongs to the people that are amplifying that voice to all people. Yeah.
And when you talk about people, are there people specifically that you would love to mention that have helped you in this project?
Yeah, like we don't have time, is that one voice. Now, not only we don't have time, even we ourselves, like the team I work with in Kenya, already they are that voice. Okay, for example, you can download our applications in Play Store or wherever. In one way, you are that voice, and that voice is what we are preferring to everybody to be part of us.
Now, this we don't have time is a voice that is used to teach African kids and people at the lower grassroots to enable them to understand what climate change is about and how they can handle the crisis. What are we visiting schools? Are we down there at the primary level to the high school level, and talking about climate change at their level of understanding?
Okay, you asked a very good question, but it's not about only African kids.
Okay.
It's about us all collectively.
Okay.
You be adult, you be the kid, you be disabled. We need all those voices in one way or another. The reason we choose Mount Kenya University, we think the young generations, they are the ones which are using the new technologies which are being used nowadays. So we felt that maybe Mount Kenya, and we are planning to scale it further, not only to Mount Kenya, to the schools, to the other institutions, we feel we need to help them at that cause. And maybe one way or another they'll be activists. Not only to be activists, they can act regarding the voice we are talking about.
Now, this, so I wind up to my questions. I'm a journalist, and I am expected to understand what climate change is, what climate crises are. I'm expected to understand that is someone called Patrick Chiari who is, running the "We Don't Have Time" challenge to our generation to make us understand about climate. This is something I'm expected to do and to have, a knowledge-wise. What about someone in the village who doesn't know? I mean, I'm sure there are people that doesn't know about Patrick Chiari.
Yeah, maybe a lot they don't know about me, Patrick Chiari. But we collectively, we have affected the climate topic.
Okay.
You be a mother, you be anybody out there. It's our time to act together. We take care of our forests. We take care of the plastic usage we are using, and so many things. And if we can come up with the best way, whichever the best way you can, I think in one way or another it can help the whole generation.
Well, I'm sure if they have to listen to this interview, they will put that into consideration and understand that Patrick Chiari is doing a great job in the industry of climate change and the progress of climate crisis. Thank you for honoring our invite, and thank you for the answers that are so well and clear.
Yeah, I'm humbled, and I believe together we are that solution. So you and everybody, let's join this cause, and we believe it's the right noble cause, like what Wangari Maathai did. Wangari Maathai is our icon as Kenyan. She usually said, let's be that hummingbird.
Sure.
However little you do toward the environment, it can help in one way or another.
Okay.
I think that's our call. That's the voice we are trying to amplify all over.
Well, we don't have time for sure. Okay. Well, if you've had Patrick Chiari, clearly he has literally enlisted the reasons as to why we don't have change, has to mobilize how to tackle climate crisis and how to tackle climate change, because it's affecting the whole world in general, and we cannot sit here as Kenyans and say that, oh, we are not going to have this because this is not our conversation. No, it's all our conversation, and we have to engage in it as we are supposed to, and we are expected to. Now, Patrick Chiari, what are your last words to people that are watching you, people that are listening to you today from the "We don't have time" slogan?
Okay, what I can tell everybody listening, let's be sensitized. Let's take care of our mother nature. If we not take care of our mother nature, the consequences can be worse. I don't want to imagine the consequences, but the nature is telling us, already speaking, so it's our time to take that voice, which the nature is speaking, and we obey it.
Okay. Now, you as a listener or as a viewer that is out there, it doesn't have to be the summits that are happening in Glasgow. It doesn't have to be the summits that are going on or the conferences that are going on around about COP26 or climate change crisis. It starts from you. What are you doing as a person, at a personal level? What are you doing to change the crisis that we are seeing in the world today? Because you can talk about the oxygen level, you can talk about the nitrogen level. What are you doing? Are you burning charcoal? Are you burning paper, any plastic papers in your houses? It starts from you. You have to look at yourself inwards and tell myself, what am I doing to participate in this climate change that is going on? And with that, we will actually succeed with this change that we are trying to bring in the world today for the better future for all of us. I am your host, Stacy Wasiche, reporting for TV47.